For me, the most interesting thing to come out of the Star Wars sequel trilogy has been the sense of deja vu that has accompanied the online discourse. Now, outrage and disappointment in sequels is nothing new. I mean, look at Smash Brothers, Fire Emblem, Vinland Saga, Rugby, Sonic. Hell, even religion has groups being divided over new developments in their shared interests. This phenomenon is ancient, there's nothing new about it. And yet we find ourselves here time and time again in this never-ending cycle of seething tribalism and infighting, further perpetuated by the internet giving us the blessing and curse that is everyone having a voice. I mean, look at me, I'm just some random bloke with less than 400 subscribers ranting about it on YouTube. So why Star Wars? Why am I talking about a beloved movie franchise that I honestly don't really care too much about? Well, it's because of Korra. Now, the similarities between the discussion of Korra and the sequel trilogy is fascinating to me. It's almost like Korra was a prophecy of some sort, an announcement of what was to come, the John the Baptist of Star Wars, if you will. After all, both series were continuations of iconic generational defining franchises in their respective media, supposedly ruined the online world the originals had established, ruined older main characters by giving them uncharacteristic flaws, tried to copy an old group of characters which ultimately failed, relied heavily on fan service, had forced political agendas baked into the plots and character development, and, most importantly, both female characters were called Mary Sue. Now, this list is by no means conclusive, but one of the similarities I did in fact leave off with that these were both times I was wrong. When I just finished the crazy train ride that is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I made a post on Reddit asking for suggestions similar to it. And lo and behold, Avatar: The Last Airbender popped up. And 2 weeks later, after starting it, I'd watched all of it and it was pretty bloody good. Got a great sense of humor, warming heartfelt moments, and plenty to make it feel unique, even if the plot felt fairly standard. Then I heard there was a sequel, and Amazon Prime had already suggested it to me, so I just started the series without hesitation, despite the nagging feeling that I was walking into a trap. 1 week later, I finished it, and it was terrific. The animation and music built upon the former, reaching heights of emotion, passion, and intensity that, to me, just dwarfed the original. Sure, there were issues. The rushed pacing made you wish more time was spent fleshing out concepts and characters, and how the romance, if anything, seemed to have taken a step back from the bland and childish romance of the previous series. There was something different. It was just interesting. How a sequel didn't resort on making the same character twice, but instead invert it and challenge the identity that had been built upon so thoroughly in the previous series. It was just interesting. And then I looked up opinions about it on the internet. I was wrong. I was objectively wrong. I liked a bad series, a garbage series, one that was hated, one that had ruined everything. And it's not like I necessarily disagreed with these arguments, but I just didn't really care about them. Was I stupid or something? Less sophisticated on the matters of art? Did I just have bad taste?
Not bad.
I've been trying to think of a good idea for a video on The Legend of Korra for a while, but it didn't feel right to make one on Korra until I got this video out there first. Korra means a lot to me because my opinions on it were wrong. I thought it was a good show, a better show than its predecessor, but it felt like I was alone in my opinions. There were those who vehemently despised it, others who liked it, but not as much as the original, and then there were those who adored the series, but they loved it for completely different reasons. To me, I was wrong. But that's okay. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a great teacher on the basics of writing. Countless videos on world building, character development, magic systems, and more have been made analyzing the show's details in what it can teach us. But these teachings are just that, teachings. There are no laws of the universe that dictate what makes good and bad writing. The concept of rules for writing were created from patterns found in centuries of works that we find enjoyable, and we use these rules to aid in making more videos, more stories, and more characters. This realization has been a significant part of my growing process as a creator. Realizing the writer's code is really just guidelines to success, tools to express yourself, not immutable laws of nature. And look, my views are not unique, and I'm not done learning. But as I currently see it, the rules of writing are like tools in a toolbox. The more you learn about a tool's potential use, the more you realize how you can use them in interesting ways, even if it seems counterproductive at first. So why am I making this video? It's been a lot of me, myself, and I so far. Well, I want people to experience what it's like to be wrong, to be challenged in the media they consume. Too often, I find myself feeling that a notable amount of people praising Avatar: The Last Airbender to high heaven haven't experienced much media outside of it, or at least not engaged with it critically in the same way. There are so many videos explaining to people why Avatar: The Last Airbender is great, and I think this has unintentionally encouraged people to speak out their opinions as facts or as final conclusions instead of having a discussion. How many times have you ever heard advertised the greatest kids TV series ever, or Zuko has the best character arc of all time? Sure, they are great, but I hear it so often and said so strongly that it just rubs me the wrong way. And I'm not hating on any of these videos or people that hold these opinions. After all, a lot of my writing knowledge and understanding has come from people reviewing Avatar. But from these videos, I built up a subconscious view of what made stories good, even though there was plenty of examples where my experience didn't line up. I thought major plot and character progression were essential to a good story. And then I watched Cowboy Bebop. I thought character arcs were fundamental to all great characters, and then I read Vinland Saga. I thought I needed to understand the plot and see logical sense in what was going on in the story, and then I watched Dorohedoro. And what may be most ironic is that I thought I was too old for a kid's cartoon to fascinate me, and then I watched the stories of Aang and Korra. What I'm trying to say here is that over time, my experience and knowledge of my taste has expanded. And taste is not stagnant. I'm not done growing and changing, and thus my taste will change too. Maybe it will become more refined with time as I study as a human more, but I also don't want to lose eagerness of experiencing the new. In Donkey's video, Game Critics, he makes the point that a critic's value is found in their consistency of opinion. And while I think this is valuable insight, particularly if the critic is going to suggest that the watcher should spend time or money on a product, I think we should also be careful when applying this to all reviewers or people in general. Over my relatively short time consuming media critically, I've tried hard to balance my judgment of a piece against the illumination of my taste as well as I can. Go too far one way and you didn't learn anything from what the piece may say, and in fact may miss novel uses of writing tools. Go too far the other way and you'll be unable to pass any criticism and be at the total will of the author. And on this scale, different people will find different places comfortable, and that's totally cool. When I look at The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, I don't just say, this dialogue is just so stiff, or why does this triangle have to be so unbearable? I can ask myself, why did I find it jarring to listen to, or why did I find it painful to watch? My media experience is something I try and keep a two-way street. Sometimes criticizing a piece of media was doing something that didn't seem right to me, but also asking myself why it didn't seem right to me, and why I reacted in that way. And the same is true if it's something that I do like. It's not easy. Hell, it's arguably not even practical, but I still think it's good practice to do so, particularly if you are going to post something online about it. The media I am watching is not infallible, but neither am I. So approaching it with care and humility is all I can really do. Being wrong was a good thing for me. I watch a lot of YouTube analysis, too much to be perfectly honest, and one of the biggest difficulties I have when watching them is not to take their opinions as truth, simply because they are presented like facts. I'm not a particularly conflicted person. I dislike conflict, and while I am quick to play the devil's advocate, I'm quick to question my opinions and stances, often not confident in my convictions unless they are reaffirmed continually. The Legend of Korra allowed me to see that the opinions I have on a show that tons of people dislike are okay. It allowed me to realize my individuality as a consumer. Other people will learn this lesson differently to me. Some may not need to learn it, and some won't learn it at all. Wherever you are in your journey as a media consumer, I encourage you to try something different and new occasionally. Who knows, you may find something special. Hey guys, this was a bit of a ranty video. The script had a lot of adjustments because I was having a hard time linking all these thoughts together. I really want to encourage you all, if you don't already, to try and push yourself in the media you consume in the near future. Recently, I picked up two series. The first one being The Wire, and the second being the recently concluded She-Ra Netflix show. These series are both things on the fringes of what I would say my taste currently is, but I'm pushing out in these murky waters to get better at writing and try and learn some things about myself along the way. These series are really different in more ways than I can count, but I'm thoroughly enjoying both of them so far. So this month has been a success, I would say. I realized I didn't actually talk about the content within Korra too much in this video, but I do have another video in mind about Tenzin that I want to release sometime in the future, so stick around for that, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching so far into the video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.